Hi everyone, welcome to Mentally Strong Mums. My name is Elena Bishop, and this one is a good one. I say that because it's very important to me. Sometimes when we have gone through heartache in our life, it's awful and it's painful, and you can have physiological symptoms. And then sometimes if you're in good relationships and you forget what that's like, and then your friends are going through a heartbreak, you kind of look at them like it's been a couple of months now. It's time to move on, stop talking about it. So I want to be able to explain why heartbreak hurts so much, whether it be younger in life or older in life, whether that decision's been taken away from you, or even if you've made that decision and it feels like your body is betraying you, even though I decided to end this relationship, it almost feels like some kind of addiction that I'm missing and I'm having withdrawals, as well as the physiological symptoms I am having, almost feeling like the physical pain of the heartbreak, right? So I want to be able to normalize all of this, understanding why it literally hurts so much emotionally, psychologically, and physically, as well as normalizing how to be able to support yourself, having some patience and compassion for your body through this time. And then, especially if your friend's going through this, then understanding and having compassion for them as well, that sometimes this isn't a choice. I can't have control over my body at this point in time to be able to take this pain away. Because if I could take this pain away, of course I would. I would give it to someone else. I don't want it anymore, right? So, this is about normalizing and understanding the process of heartbreak. So, heartbreak isn't just an emotional wound, it is a biological event. So, it affects your brain, your immune system, and people don't even know about that either. When it impacts your immune system, how it impacts your hormones, and then even your poor little heart. Right. So, in this powerful episode, we're going to explore the scientific truth behind heartbreak and why it physically hurts, why it's physically painful. Okay. So, why the loss of love mimics withdrawal as if it's an addiction, as well as then how to begin rebuilding after emotional devastation. And I know I sound, do you know what I mean with all of that kind of stuff? But really, your body, it's devastated. It's so, you know, and that's what we need to be able to make peace with and understand as a part of that grief and loss process as well. Right? So, heartbreak does not discriminate. So, whether you're 17, we've all had those heartbreaks when we were younger and how painful they were, right? Or even at 57. It's the end of a relationship, or even if someone might have passed away, whatever that looks like, or even, as I said before, you've chosen to leave a romantic relationship. And especially if it's a long-term one where there's love and history through it, right? It can then bring you to your knees. It is awful. And heartbreak, the extreme symptoms of heartbreak, I wouldn't wish upon anyone. The rumination that comes with it, because the emotional pain of heartbreak isn't just metaphorical, it's literal. The brain processes the loss of a loved one in the same way it processes physical pain. So your entire body enters into a stress response. And that's why when I talk about the immune system, it impacts your immunity because it's an entire stress response, right? So why does it hurt so much when they walk away? Why can't I just move on? These are questions that we want to be able to episode. Geez, these are the questions that I want to answer in this episode and understanding your biology. And it's not just a philosophical get over it and I wake up the next day by choice and I don't feel this stuff anymore, right? By understanding the science of heartbreak, we can then begin to reclaim control and compassion for our healing, which is more of a authentic healing moving forward, as opposed to trying to repress everything and shove everything down, or a denial process, or re-healing or re-traumatizing. So we need to do this in a really authentic way that gives you respect for your body, as well as respect for if your body is receiving this as if it's trauma. Okay. So the body of love and how mammals bond, because obviously we are mammals. Mammals have safety in numbers. So when you fall in love or become attached, your body will release powerful cocktail of neurochemicals to be able to have that safety in numbers and that bonding. So obviously it's dopamine, which fuels motivation, focus, and pleasure. This is high when we fall in love and when we do those beautiful things. So even in the past couple of episodes, when we talk about trauma bonding, it's a part of that process as well with the dopamine. Oxytocin is the love hormone, the bonding hormone. It increases during sex, during physical touch, even during eye contact and when you're being flirty. So that's identifying with your feminine, creating long-term trust and closeness. Also, serotonin, which is the mood stabilizer, and your endorphins, which can help reduce stress and pain, making the relationship a literal painkiller, right? So, from an evolutionary perspective, humans, we are wired to attach, especially females, okay, because of our biology for that need for protection. I'm not getting into it, but there's a whole situation why it's very important. So, even understanding from the very basic, when your children are born, when they're infants, human infants are helpless at birth. So they are requiring long-term caregiving and co-parenting to be able to survive. And especially for mammals that love that connection, it's literally a survival mechanism. So when a relationship ends, it is not just a breakup, it's a disruption of your entire attachment system, similar to losing access to your emotional home base. And if anyone's ever done the what's that? There's a parenting program. Security. That's what they always describe home base is as secure attachment. Circle of security, right? Some people love it, some people hate it. Based on attachment, very old school. I'm going to give you more of an updated one, but that's one we talk about home base. That's what that generally means. That's secure attachment. And anyone watching this, that's one of my clients knows what this is because I do it all the time, right? So we need to be able to understand heartbreak as a physical and neurological event. So even you can go back and want to look at the evidence, there are functional MRI studies that show the anterior cortex in the region of the brain that registers physical pain is activated when people recall a romantic rejection. And no one likes to be rejected, okay? It's the anterior cingulate cortex. So your brain reacts to rejection the same way it reacts to a broken bone, okay? And that's something, I don't know if you've ever heard about rejection sensitivity, right? So common physical symptoms of heartbreak include tight chest or pain due to the cortisol and the stress hormones. So even though my heart is here, it feels like it's broken. Sleeplessness due to disrupted circadian rhythm and stress. It's that ruminating as well. I'm sleepless. I can't do anything. I'm worrying about it all. I'm so lonely. I feel completely alone. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm helpless, right? So then that's dysregulated into your freeze, feeling completely alone. Sometimes people will have appetite changes. So dopamine dysregulation impacts hunger and pleasure, and it can go both ways. So some people, your coping mechanism is not to eat at all. So I just physically and am unable to eat. And then some people are the complete opposite way where I just need comfort and I need support and I need to be able to get that from food because that's the only thing. So then all of my eating increases, carbs, eating your feelings, all of the stuffs, right? As well as difficulty concentrating. That's the prefrontal cortex dysfunction under stress because you're dysregulated, you can't be present, therefore you can't think, therefore you're ruminating and spiraling. And a part of that grief and loss process is the second is so one first is denial. It's not that bad. I'll be fine. It didn't matter that much anyways. We'll probably get back together. All right. Second one is bargaining. Bargaining is if I only did this, or I should have done this, or if I spoke up about that, or if I only changed this, or if I got therapy first, or if you're religious, it'll be, please God, I will do anything if you, right? So that's bargaining, number two. Number three is that anger. This is BS. I don't deserve any of this, blah, 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 blah. Fourth is the depression, the sadness, generally what this kind of is until we get to acceptance, right? So this translates to that your body is in a crisis mode. Even though it's just a breakup, your body perceives this as I'm in crisis. I can't sleep, I can't eat, or I'm eating too much. I can't concentrate, I can't breathe, I have physical pain, right? And so this is why heartbreak is really, really, really hard because your body literally betrays you, okay? So there's this thing called broken heart syndrome. So it's a medically recognized condition where extreme emotional distress can cause sudden weakening of the heart's specifically left ventricle, right? So it mimics the symptoms of a heart attack, chest pain, shortness of breath, but without any artery blockages, okay? So it's triggered by acute emotional stress, most common in postmenopausal women, ladies, because it's the drop in estrogen, which normally estrogen protects the cardiovascular system. And after menopause, there's a lack of estrogen. So then that's how then it impacts the heart. This is temporary in most cases, but you've heard those stories of those couples that have been together throughout the entire time of their life, and then one partner dies, and then the next day or 2 days after, the other partner passes away as well. It's broken heart syndrome because it's too much for me to bear. It's enough. Do you know what I mean? So all of this, even though it is quite extreme and morbid at this point in time, obviously trying to validate you, understand and normalize what you're feeling, as well as proof that you're not overreacting. You're not a hypochondriac. It's proof that the emotions we suppress or downplay can literally break the heart muscle if it goes into broken heart syndrome, right? And so then we also need to understand why heartbreak feels like a drug withdrawal, right? So I'm going to use this as right? So love is not like unlike addiction. So when you lose a partner, especially unexpectedly, or even if they break up from you, your brain reacts as if you've been cut off from them like a drug that completely depends on it, right? So then your dopamine crashes, leading to that hopelessness. You have an oxytocin withdrawal that leaves you craving closeness and security, right? And then cortisol rise. Cortisol is your stress hormone. It increases your anxiety, your inflammation within your body, and emotional distress. So when I talk about the withdrawal, if your ex has broken up with you, your dopamine can't just kind of sit there and be chill with everything, right? It will then just, so let me just stalk their Facebook page. Let me just see what they've been active in. Let me just have a look at their Insta and just see. Let me see if that, do you know what I mean? So then every time you see them somewhere or going through text messages or whatever it is where you're physically trying to reconnect, that's like another hit, essentially, that keeps you addicted. So it's really messed up the way that your body does betray you through all of this, right? So, especially when the breakup was not your choice, your nervous system also experiences learned helplessness, okay? And it's a trauma pattern where you feel powerless, where you feel unworthy, where you have increased shame. Shame is, I can't do anything right. It's my fault. I can't believe I did that. I always mess things up. I'm never gonna. Do you know what I mean? So this is sometimes the contributor to why people obsess or they ruminate, where they idolize their ex-partners, even when they weren't happy in it. And it was actually a blessing in disguise and you dodged a bullet. But this is what your body and your brain does, right? Seeking neurochemical regulation, not just closure of the relationship. So Gender differences when we talk about heartbreak. So women have higher baseline oxytocin, which is the love hormone, which can intensely bond and make disconnection harder. That's why sometimes it feels like women are more attached than men. Estrogen also impacts how stress is processed. And then if it is that stage after menopause, reduced estrogen might increase vulnerability to heartbreak, broken heart syndrome. All right. Testosterone in men may even blunt emotional expression, but heartbreak may be internalized in dangerous ways. So, because they're not being able to express their emotions the way that quote unquote is healthy, they then internalize, overthink, kind of bury it, and then it comes out in different ways, such as rage or withdrawal or even numbing behaviors. And sometimes that's alcoholism and stuff as well, right? In terms of social expectations, women are often expected just to feel and express pain, sometimes even to their detriment. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, rehash it, re-traumatize, right? But men, on the other hand, may be conditioned to suppress their pain, leading to isolation or acting out. Men don't talk about their feelings. I'll get over it. She was a skank anyways, right? All of that kind of stuff. So when sometimes we look outside the box and look at other maybe LGBTQI plus, individuals often experience complex layers of heartbreak because sometimes they might have unsupported environments. So that can sometimes exacerbate the pain, increase the loneliness, as opposed to saying, yeah. So that's the difference there as well. So when I was talking earlier about the immune system and inflammation, it's very important to look after yourself during this time as well, because chronic heartbreak equals chronic stress, and then stress is an immune suppressant, right? So you will have weakened immune function, elevated inflammatory, such as depression, fatigue, and disease, as well as increased cortisol. Increased cortisol is the stress hormone. It disrupts gut health, sleep, and mood. And there are people that can predict when you wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning, it's to do with this cortisol level. And when you wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, it's to do with this cortisol stress level, right? So understanding all of the interplay as well. So when you are going through a heartbreak, you're going to be more susceptible to fatigue and feeling run down and being unwell. So you've got to work really, really hard at making positive choices for you, which is hard, especially if you're an emotional eater trying to deal with it. And I just want, give me burgers and maybe some fried chicken and then maybe some sweets and a couple of blocks of cheese. You know what I mean? So emotional stress makes us unwell. It makes us sick. Okay. So people recovering from heartbreak might even experience cold and flu symptoms, migraines, autoimmune flare-ups, and especially if we're talking about females during our periods, during deep grief. Okay. So next time you hear your friend going through heartbreak and you're listening to all of this, you are like, holy moly, that's a lot. It's extreme, right? So we need to be able to heal according to all this science to be able to look after and protect yourself, okay? So rewire your brain with a kind of healthy routine. Small little predictable rituals to replace the loss of your shared routine with that other person. So maybe walking the same path every day, set times. You need to get out into the sun for your circadian rhythm to get to sleep, which is your hashtag melatonin, right? To regulate your cortisol and dopamine. Exercise and movement, it doesn't matter what it is, you just need to do something, okay? You need some kind of flow to be able to reheal and increase some positive hormones. If you can, do some kind of mindfulness and meditation. It's very difficult for people that are dysregulated, so that's okay. Otherwise, go and see a therapist, someone like me that does EMDR, that we're able to reprocess what's happened to you so that you can see things from a beautiful lens to know it's not your fault. I'm going to be okay. I can choose who to trust. I like myself. I want to move forward. Okay. And then when it is safe, okay, re-engage in society again with people. So engage with safe, emotionally regulated people to re-establish your oxytocin pathways. We are mammals, we have safety in numbers, and we need to do that in a healthy way, even if it's not romantic, but just start to be around people again. Even if you just join a group, speak to a friend, find a coach or something. When you're isolated and alone, it will slow your healing and make things worse. So even though it's painful, force yourself to get out there, right? So your beautiful little heart, it might be sad and broken, but you are not broken, honey. You are healing. It is painful, okay? And if you're an older mother or a mother that has teenage kids and the teenagers have a heartbreak, well, maybe have a bit of compassion and understanding for them as well. Okay, because it's a neurochemical, hormonal, immune, and then almost perceived as a traumatic emotional loss. Okay, but healing is biological too. So even though it sounds like doom and gloom, it's actually really beautiful and positive because we've all been there and it sucks. Do you know what I mean? The same brain that's grieving is also designed to be able to rebuild and have beautiful connections again. It's that beautiful neuroplasticity that means that you can rewire your brain for trust, safety, and joy. Humans are built for pleasure and humans are built for joy. So we need to be able to find that every single day. So breathe. This pain won't last forever, but the growth that comes from it, that's where your power lies. Okay. So I want to thank you so much for being able to sit with this through me. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It was a lot. So look after yourself. If you know someone that's going through heartache at the moment and they might benefit from this, please share this with them as well. But it's really hard. It's awful. And you know what? Sometimes you can even feel all of these symptoms while you're in a relationship. But if it's an upsetting, toxic relationship, I kind of sometimes receiving broken heart syndrome in my current relationship because it's an unhealthy relationship because of the trauma bond, all of that kind of stuff, right? So look after yourself, have a fabulous day, and I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.